Whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven. Within Jesus' teachings lies a profound, deliberately concealed dimension, kept secret for centuries. It's a revolutionary technique he mastered perfectly, one that transcends any specific religion or belief system. We're talking about the conscious application of the subconscious mind to shape physical reality. Jesus wasn't merely a spiritual teacher. He was a scientist of the human mind, deeply understanding universal laws that we now refer to as manifestation and the law of attraction. When Jesus stated that whatever we asked for in prayer, believing we had already received it, would be granted, he wasn't speaking of a mystical miracle. Instead, he was imparting the most potent mental technology available, the deliberate programming of the subconscious to bring tangible results into existence. If you've made it this far, it's because you sense something far grander operating behind the scenes of your life, something you haven't yet fully accessed. Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, because what you're about to uncover will radically transform your understanding of how reality truly functions and how you can become the conscious architect of your own experience. Most people live as if they are victims of circumstances, passively hoping for good things to happen by chance or through external intervention. Jesus, however, operated from an entirely different level of awareness. He knew that the human mind functions on two distinct levels: the conscious mind, which analyzes and questions, and the subconscious mind, which accepts as absolute truth anything impressed upon it with emotion and repetition. The subconscious doesn't differentiate between what is real and what is vividly imagined. This is the core principle Jesus consistently employed. When he said, "According to your faith be it done to you," he was referring to the state of absolute conviction that must be established at the subconscious level for manifestation to occur. Consider all the instances where Jesus performed what we call miracles. Before any external transformation, he always first established an inner state of unshakable certainty. When he multiplied the loaves and fish, he didn't doubt for a single second that there would be enough food. His subconscious mind had already accepted that reality as an absolute truth. Modern science corroborates what Jesus intuitively grasped. Our subconscious controls approximately 95% of our vital functions and mental processes. It manages our breathing, heartbeat, digestion, immune system, and, critically, it's responsible for attracting experiences into our lives that align with the deep-seated beliefs we hold. Jesus understood that the subconscious is like an incredibly powerful and utterly obedient servant. It doesn't question, it doesn't judge, it simply executes with surgical precision any mental pattern consistently fed to it with emotion and repetition. This is why Jesus so heavily emphasized the importance of faith, which is nothing more than a profound emotional conviction. But here lies the common pitfall. Most people try to manifest things with their conscious mind, using willpower and superficial positive thinking, while their subconscious remains programmed with limiting beliefs and patterns of scarcity. It's akin to attempting to drive a car by pressing the accelerator and the brake simultaneously. Jesus never operated in such a divided manner. He had completely aligned his conscious mind with his subconscious programming. When he declared something, there was no internal conflict, no whisper of doubt in the back of his mind. His conscious declaration was supported by an unshakable subconscious conviction. Notice how Jesus consistently spoke of the kingdom of heaven as something that already existed, not as something that might come into being in the future. He stated that the kingdom of heaven is within you. This is a direct reference to the creative power of the human subconscious, an inner realm where all possibilities already exist in a potential state, waiting to be activated by consciousness. The technique Jesus employed can be broken down into three distinct phases, each corresponding to a specific principle of subconscious programming. The first phase was what he referred to as asking. Yet Jesus didn't ask in the conventional sense of someone begging or pleading for something they lacked. He established a clear and specific intention, precisely defining the reality he wished to manifest. Specificity is crucial because the subconscious works with precise mental images and sensations, not vague concepts. When Jesus told the paralyzed man, "Rise and walk," he didn't say, "I hope you might get a little better." The instruction was precise, direct, and crystal clear. The second phase is what we now call visualization or subconscious impression. Jesus always connected emotionally with the desired outcome as if it were already a present reality. He felt the gratitude, the joy, and the satisfaction of something that hadn't yet physically materialized, but which already existed fully within his consciousness. This ability to feel the desired reality as already achieved is what differentiates those who consistently manifest from those who merely dream and hope. Jesus didn't visualize Lazarus emerging from the tomb as a future possibility. He emotionally experienced that reality as a fulfilled fact even before uttering the words, "Lazarus, come forth." The third phase was release or surrender. After establishing the intention and emotionally imprinting the desired reality upon the subconscious, Jesus simply allowed the universal creative force to operate through him. He wasn't anxious. He didn't try to control how or when things would happen. There was an absolute trust that the subconscious, connected to universal intelligence, would find the perfect way to physically manifest what had already been established internally. Whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven. This is the fundamental law Jesus taught. Everything you firmly establish in your earthly consciousness will be confirmed and materialized by cosmic intelligence. But the word bind here signifies much more than simply wishing for something. It means creating an emotional connection with a reality so strong that it becomes more real to you than your current circumstances. Now, if you've noticed yourself struggling to manifest significant changes in your life, even while knowing these principles, there's a very specific reason for it. Most people attempt to apply these techniques without first clearing the limiting programs already ingrained in their subconscious. It's like trying to write on a blackboard that's already full of old, contradictory information. There is a specific method to identify and transform these deep-seated limiting beliefs, allowing you to access the same state of consciousness that Jesus consistently demonstrated. If you want to discover exactly how to perform this mental clearing and program your subconscious with scientific precision, I've prepared comprehensive material that shows you step by step how to apply these principles practically and systematically. You'll find the link in the first pinned comment directly below this video. Jesus also understood something modern psychology has only recently discovered. The subconscious cannot be programmed through force or mechanical repetition. It needs to be enticed through elevated emotional states. This is why Jesus always operated from states of love, gratitude, compassion, and profound joy. When you try to manifest something from states of lack, fear, or despair, you are actually programming your subconscious to create more experiences of lack, fear, and despair. The subconscious doesn't understand that you want to get rid of these states. It simply interprets the dominant emotion as an instruction to create more similar experiences. Jesus knew that to access the creative power of the subconscious, it was first necessary to elevate one's emotional frequency. He didn't attempt to heal people when he was irritated or worried. He first connected with states of unconditional love and deep compassion, and then, from that elevated state, allowed the healing power to flow through him. This is a crucial distinction that most people fail to grasp. They try to use manifestation techniques to solve problems or escape difficult situations, but they do so from the very emotional state that created those problems in the first place. It's like trying to put out a fire using gasoline. Jesus' approach was completely different. He first established himself in a state of consciousness where the problem no longer existed, where the solution was already a reality, and then allowed that higher consciousness to express itself in physical form. He didn't try to solve problems. He placed himself in a dimension of consciousness where those problems simply had no existence. This brings us to a fundamental point few understand about manifestation. You cannot create something new from an old level of consciousness. If you want a different life, you must first become a different person internally. Jesus didn't perform miracles despite being human. He performed miracles because he had transcended the limitations of common human consciousness. Ordinary human consciousness operates based on external evidence. It believes only what it can see, touch, and verify through the physical senses. But Jesus operated from an expanded consciousness that recognized the physical world is merely a projection of internal states of awareness. For Jesus, changing external reality was as simple as changing his internal perception. He knew he didn't need to fight against circumstances or try to manipulate external events. He simply aligned his consciousness with the reality he desired to experience, and the external world automatically reorganized itself to reflect that new perception. This is the key difference between trying to manifest something and manifesting something naturally. When you try to manifest, you're operating from the belief that you don't have what you desire and you need to make something happen. When you manifest naturally, you're operating from the awareness that you already are and already have everything you need at an essential level. Jesus never tried to heal anyone because he operated from a consciousness where sickness had no fundamental reality. For him, perfect health was the natural state of the human being, and illness was merely a temporary distortion of that truth. When he declared, "Your sins are forgiven," or "You are healed," he wasn't creating something new. He was simply recognizing and declaring what was already true at a deeper level. Jesus' subconscious was completely aligned with this perception of fundamental perfection. He held no beliefs about limitation, scarcity, or impossibility. His subconscious had been programmed from very early on with the absolute conviction that he was a direct expression of universal creative intelligence. Here's something that can revolutionize your understanding. Jesus wasn't special because he was born with supernatural abilities. He was special because he had developed a conscious and deliberate relationship with his own subconscious and with the universal laws that govern manifestation. Anyone can develop this same relationship through specific techniques and consistent practices. The scientific prayer Jesus practiced wasn't a desperate plea to an external deity. It was a systematic process of alignment between the conscious mind and the subconscious, guided by a specific intention and sustained by elevated emotional states. Jesus understood that true prayer is an intimate conversation between different aspects of one's own consciousness. When Jesus withdrew to pray in solitary places, he wasn't just asking God for help. He was consciously connecting with the subconscious dimension of his mind, where all wisdom and creative power reside. He was deliberately programming his subconscious mind with specific instructions and then allowing that programming to manifest naturally in his experience. The process Jesus used can be applied by anyone willing to transcend the limitations of common consciousness. First, it's necessary to develop the ability to quiet the conscious mind through practices like meditation or silent contemplation. The conscious mind, with its constant flow of analytical thoughts and worries, acts as interference that prevents clear communication with the subconscious. Once this state of mental stillness is established, the next step is to define with absolute clarity what reality you wish to manifest. Jesus never operated with vague or ambiguous intentions. When he said, "Let the little children come to me," he was setting a specific intention to create an environment where children felt completely safe and loved. Clarity of intention acts like a precise address you're giving to your subconscious. If you don't know exactly where you want to go, your subconscious cannot take you there. Jesus always knew exactly what reality he wished to create in every situation. After establishing the clear intention, Jesus emotionally connected with the desired reality as if it were already a done deal. He didn't visualize it as a fantasy or future hope, but experienced it as a present reality. This ability to feel the gratitude and satisfaction of something before it physically manifests is the key that activates the creative power of the subconscious. The subconscious doesn't differentiate between a vividly imagined experience and a real experience. When you can genuinely feel the joy, gratitude, and satisfaction of having something, your subconscious interprets this as confirmation that you already possess that reality, and then works tirelessly to align your external experience with this internal perception. Jesus had mastered the art of emotionally dwelling in the desired outcome even before it physically materialized. He could feel abundance even when surrounded by hungry crowds. He could feel perfect peace even amidst storms. This ability to maintain an emotional state independent of external circumstances was what gave him access to unlimited creative power. Whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven. The final stage of Jesus' process was complete release. After establishing the intention and emotionally imprinting the desired reality upon his subconscious, he simply trusted that universal intelligence would find the perfect way to physically manifest what had already been established internally. This release isn't passivity or inaction. It's an active trust based on the understanding that the subconscious has access to resources, opportunities, and synchronicities that the conscious mind cannot even fathom. Jesus didn't try to figure out how miracles would happen. He simply allowed them to happen through him. Most people sabotage their own manifestations because they cannot release control. They set an intention and then become obsessed trying to figure out how that intention will materialize, doubting when they don't see immediate evidence, or trying to force results through desperate actions. Jesus operated from such profound trust in universal laws that he could set an intention and then go about his life normally, knowing that the subconscious was working behind the scenes to create the necessary conditions for manifestation. He wasn't anxious or impatient because he understood that there is a perfect timing for all things. This understanding of divine timing is crucial for effective manifestation. The subconscious doesn't operate according to the conscious mind's urgency. It works according to principles of harmony and synchronicity that take into account multiple variables the conscious mind cannot process. When you plant a seed in the ground, you don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You trust in the natural process of germination and growth. Similarly, when you plant a seed in the fertile soil of your subconscious through clear intention and elevated emotion, you must trust that seed will germinate and grow in perfect time. Jesus demonstrated this trust constantly. When he told the fig tree, "May no one ever eat fruit from you again," he didn't keep checking daily to see if the tree was withering. He set the intention, trusted the process, and moved on. The next day, when the disciples saw that the fig tree had completely withered, they were amazed. But for Jesus, it was simply the natural result of a universal law in operation. The key to developing this same trust is understanding that you're not trying to convince the universe to do something for you. You are aligning your consciousness with laws that are already in constant operation. The law of attraction isn't something you turn on and off. It's a universal force that is always working, creating your experience based on the dominant patterns of your consciousness. Jesus didn't have to convince God to perform miracles. He simply aligned his consciousness with the dimension of reality where those miracles were natural events. His subconscious mind was attuned to frequencies of consciousness where limitation, sickness, and scarcity simply didn't exist. This is the fundamental difference between Jesus' approach and the approach of most people. Most try to use the power of the subconscious to correct problems or gain things they don't have. Jesus used the power of the subconscious to express the perfection that already existed at an essential level. The reality we experience is always a perfect reflection of the dominant programming in our subconscious. If your life is filled with limitations and difficulties, it doesn't mean you're unlucky or that the universe is conspiring against you. It simply means your subconscious is programmed with beliefs that create that kind of experience. Jesus had completely reprogrammed his subconscious with fundamental spiritual truths. He held no beliefs about limitation because he understood that limitation is merely an illusion created by consciousness that identifies exclusively with the physical world. To reprogram your subconscious in the same way, you must first identify which limiting beliefs are currently operating behind the scenes of your mind. These beliefs were generally installed during childhood through emotionally intense experiences or constant repetition of certain ideas. The process of identifying these limiting beliefs requires brutal honesty with yourself. You need to examine areas of your life where the results don't match your conscious desires and ask, what beliefs must I be holding to create this kind of experience? If you constantly face financial difficulties, for example, there's some deep-seated belief about money, worthiness, or abundance that is creating that experience. If you have difficulties in relationships, there's some belief about love, intimacy, or your own value that is sabotaging your connections. As long as you identify exclusively with your limited personality, your current circumstances, and your past stories, you will be operating from a contracted consciousness that can only create limited experiences. The expansion of consciousness that Jesus taught involves recognizing that you are far more than your physical and mental identity. You are a unique expression of the same universal consciousness that created galaxies, orchestrates the movement of planets, and makes your heart beat without any conscious effort on your part. When you begin to identify with this expanded dimension of your being, you naturally gain access to the same creative powers Jesus demonstrated. Not because you become special or superior, but because you are operating from a more accurate understanding of who you truly are. The path to this expansion of consciousness isn't complicated, but it requires consistent dedication. Jesus developed this consciousness through specific practices that anyone can learn and apply. He spent regular time in a state of silence and contemplation, consciously connecting with the subconscious dimension of his mind. He also practiced what we now call creative visualization, emotionally experiencing desired realities as if they were already accomplished facts. But most importantly, he consistently maintained an attitude of gratitude and unconditional love, which are the emotional frequencies that grant access to unlimited creative power. If you want to start applying these principles in your own life, begin by dedicating a few minutes each day to quieting your mind and consciously connecting with your subconscious. This isn't an intellectual exercise. It's a process of intimate communion with the most powerful dimension of your own being. During these moments of stillness, set clear intentions for specific areas of your life that you wish to transform. Don't ask like someone desperately pleading for help out of lack, but declare like someone reminding their subconscious of truths it has temporarily forgotten. After establishing your intentions, emotionally connect with these realities as if they are already your current experience. Feel the gratitude, joy, and satisfaction of living these realities. The more vivid and emotionally intense this internal experience, the more quickly it will manifest in your external experience. Finally, completely release the need to control how or when these manifestations will occur. Trust that your subconscious, connected to universal intelligence, possesses wisdom and resources infinitely superior to those of your conscious mind. The journey to master these principles that Jesus demonstrated so naturally is one of the most exciting adventures you can undertake. It is literally the process of awakening to your true potential as a creative being and discovering that you have far more power over your life experience than you ever imagined. Whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven. Jesus left us this promise not as an incomprehensible mystical declaration, but as a precise scientific instruction on how reality functions. Every thought you hold with emotion, every belief you nurture with repetition, every state of consciousness you consistently cultivate is creating your future experience at this very moment. The question isn't whether you have this power, because you are already using it constantly, even if unconsciously. The question is whether you will choose to use this power deliberately to create the life you truly desire, or whether you will continue to use it accidentally to perpetuate patterns that don't serve you. Jesus showed us that it's possible to live from a consciousness where miracles are not rare exceptions, but natural expressions of who we truly are. This invitation is still open to you today. The only remaining question is, are you ready to accept it? If this video has awakened something profound within you, please like and subscribe to the channel to continue this journey of discovery. And in the comments, I want you to write exactly this: whatever I bind on earth will be bound in heaven. When you write this declaration, you are consciously activating these principles in your own life. Do it now and prepare to witness transformations that go far beyond what you consider possible.